Welcome to the Port Charles Update with your hosts, Mish and Mel.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh gosh, General Hospitals is soap. Did you know? It's
It's
crazy.
super dramatic, guys.
Okay, look, I'm gonna I can't think about anything other than Kristina. So it's possible we may not get to other things.
Very possible.
It's also possible we'll make this extremely long. It's also possible the things I claim we won't get to, I'll try to squeeze all of it in at the end. That's also possible. Maybe I should start. So, maybe we should start because there's just so much. Okay, Kristina. Things were bad last week and they're bad this week again. I don't necessarily agree with her logic that she's using or would use to sue for custody. Things like, I think you could break up, just stuff like because the truth is she fell in love with the baby. Nobody wants that, but it's just that's the real reason. So I feel like the logic that she's using is odd and I don't necessarily agree and it sucks. The situation sucks. But I also wish that some people could have maybe seen Molly in action.
Okay, so thank you very much for saying that because it's really, really freaking difficult for me to, and I've said it before, and we've talked about this, how everybody kind of puts Kristina into this box. And then the retelling of the story. So, Kristina, even though everybody is saying that she's just like wildly unhinged, she doesn't give up Molly for anything. Molly is yada, yada, yada in the story. Oh, yeah, we went. I said some things I regret. No, you said some really awful stuff, like incredibly awful, hurtful things. You hit where it hurt, but all you are focusing on is Kristina's madness. This is an equally messed up, disturbing situation on all fronts. Lay it all out. I want to see some crazy Molly. Everybody else needs to see it. We saw it. Let's just do it.
But Molly is kind of I mean, look, she's interesting because there's who she is with Kristina, and again, that's so personal. And then
Yes.
there's who she is with Case, which was like, oh my gosh, go Molly.
Yes, 100%.
It's so impressive. Because remember, I told you they're finally letting Molly out into the world, into other scenes. They let her talk to other people, right? It was like once Molly was solidified, they're like, run along, be free. So it's really cool to watch her in different contexts. So Molly ends up having this conversation with her mom, and I did appreciate the fact that Alexis did push, like did challenge her. It's just it's
Mhm.
so funny how with Christine, it's like she's horrible, right? Like we all know, but when she does something, it's like I feel like there's an implicit understanding and permission when Molly or anyone does something wrong. It's like it's fine because she's done worse. Oh, she deserves it because remember all those mistakes she made?
Okay, so you said something really crucial. Okay, wait. There's two things I want to say. So one, was it Trina that said initially that the way that she sees Ava, it's not based on her past mistakes. She sees who she is now. So I thought that was like an interesting line for the week and
Mm-hmm.
kind of a play on the story that's happening now with
But also,
Molly, Christine, and Alexis.
but it's also a bonding point, right, between Gio and her in terms
Oh
of
yeah,
Sonny and Ava as well. I found.
totally. It would just like to not leave the Molly Christina story, but just that whole version of like the way they see Christina versus like other people's real life versions of how you see a human. And then also having Molly and Alexis in the actual interrogation room. I thought that was an interesting place to have that scene for this discussion.
Well, I think it was really cool because she's like a mini Alexis. And they do
Yes.
have a direct conversation about versions of Alexis and having nobody cares about Sam, but just the fact that only Molly and Christina are versions of her. But I was floored when in Alexis's mind, she felt that Molly got the best parts of her and Christina got the worst parts of her.
I know. I
And I
was kind
thought
of
that
grossed out
was
by that.
and then if you pair that with her conversation with TJ, which oh my gosh, I just freaking can't with that. I chose
Yup.
a daughter. Charles. And I was like, oh my God, like, relax. Like, it's not the one option. Like, you
You're an
hounding
only
Alexis.
child. You don't get it.
I know. I was like, it's such an only child thing to say. He's like, well, I always get picked for everything. I just thought that was ridiculous. And so I just think that like putting like I mean, look, he feels out of control, and it felt really good to kind of act like Alexis had all the power. It was
Mhm.
just a lot of lies to himself. Like it's interesting when
Yes.
TJ talks where he describes, let's say, Molly's perspective, or he talks about Molly, about what she's going through, like how Molly is just like consumed with love or getting kind of distracted with her love for Kristina. And
Uh-huh.
I'm just like, it's really weird because I find like all the ways in which he describes Molly, it's like it's himself. Because the reason you got into this problem in the first place is that you were sort of persuaded by your love for Molly. Your love for Molly overpowered your ability to have control when you had control. When you had control and the
Mhm.
options, you never seized it. And the more the choice not to really speak up, the more it progressed, the more he lashes out on everyone else, when ultimately he was the one who his gut said, like, forget Kristina. This man
Mhm.
was not ready to start this process again.
Yes.
He
Yes.
wasn't ready, and he wasn't willing to deal with the discomfort it would cause in his relationships. Funny point for Christina on that one. He wasn't
Right?
ready to deal with Molly's wrath, right? He wasn't ready to deal with what this would be like for her, how unfair this would be for her, right? He felt like the person I love, is suffering. She can't have a child. So, like, let me try to compensate rather than like, it's harsh. But imagine Molly, that's a lot of loss, right? I can't have a child. And now I also have to wait. And like all of this is really unfair. And this really sucks. Like like it would have been bad, but that's what he was avoiding. He was avoiding her discomfort.
Well, this is the thing, right? And he keeps saying how him and Molly are on the same page. I'm like, you're
You're
really
not.
truly not. So Christina might be right. You might be breaking up, guys.
Because there's conflict. Did you hear people break up when there's conflict? And no, it's and even when like TJ was like, where would she even get that idea? Molly's like, I might have said things that weren't nice. And like she leaves it at that.
I
Like with
know, like
Christina, I don't know. I might have went for the jugular. Who knows? I don't. Nobody was there. Can't catch me. Like it's just there's she's careful with the truth.
she
She's
chooses her narrative for sure.
exactly. And the thing is, Christina said less than Molly in their fight overall.
Yeah.
But what she did choose to say was not good. Like it
No.
wasn't, it, it, it it was harsh, but it wasn't
Okay,
as
but
many words as what
it
Molly,
wasn't.
and it wasn't as many examples.
But I loved what she said to her mom, and I wasn't gonna lie, I was following the logic. Like she was like, okay, so like they haven't talked about maternity leave. You can't watch the baby, so like I'll be watching the baby. So like I might as well raise it.
I'm not gonna lie, I was
That
in
was
Christina's
amazing.
world right there. But also it goes to show like it's really weird. It's really weird. They have this surrogate. And the
Mhm.
last one, they doted over the surrogate, right? And there was this sort of
Yes.
mutual respect and relationship. And then with Christina, it was like, we're gonna be overbearing. Don't talk to your dad. And then if it wasn't that, it was like, we're gonna live our lives separate from you and be so disgruntled towards you for doing this. And it was so
So
weird.
weird.
Like they showed her zero
Yes.
compassion. It was kind of like they were mad every time she didn't meet some kind of courtesy. There was nothing that she could do that was right. They were mad at her all the time. They were making so many wrong steps, and instead of trying to make the right steps, they would just make mistakes and then back off into the little hole.
Exactly.
And I think maybe on some level, given that Molly, when they had a talk, like I was proud of both of them for having such a great conversation and for owning their parts. Um,
Yes.
but I start to wonder this, like, especially after Molly's conversation, or was it No, it was TJ when he said to Alexis, "Your silence means you support Kristina entirely." And I'm like, you and Molly just jump into conclusions based
Wow.
on minimal
Silence says
information.
a lot of things to these guys.
I know. I'm like, little information makes them like go just completely nuclear, and it's what caused the situation. And I just think that like there's so many reasons to be riled up, and I like how they're making this story, especially with where it landed. It's just that it's not so black and white. It's not so you're a surrogate. Like they're like I find with TJ, he treats Christina like she's dumb and can't read a contract. Like, does she know?
Yes.
As a
Oh,
and like if she doesn't honor this contract, it's legit because she's a horrible person and not because
she
she
has
fell in love with
human
the baby.
feelings.
Yeah, like not because she's human. It has nothing to do with her being hateful, but maybe somebody who just is experiencing an overwhelming amount of love for the baby. And of course, there are all these things that need to happen. And I don't think that Molly or TJ, they're so afraid of what and I get that they're fearful to not end up with the baby, but I don't think they understood how hard it was for Christina or what her experience was like. It was so separate, and I interesting and probably done on purpose, but they really divided them. And I hated the fact that nobody saw Christina's experience other than Alexis. Hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah,
Right.
I think that I just the way, like, if you think about just the end of the week
Hmm.
and you think about the people who were there, to me I was like, oh well, this is the count, right? This is the sides here, like we're seeing who's
Yes.
who's on Christina's side, who's on Molly's side. And maybe that's why, right? It helped create the divide because the only people who know her perspective is her mom in terms of Molly's side, nobody else. So nobody really has that empathy. And Alexis doesn't do a really great job of creating any empathy toward
No.
Christina, even though she can give it to her in the moment. Like, I think Alexis is the only one that understands the challenge that Christina has faced, but for some reason chooses not to share that with a soul. And obviously, like Blaze, Blaze knows what she was going through and the thoughts that she was having and sharing, and she only shared them with her. But I'm just so curious because even if TJ talks to Blaze, I wonder what her perspective is, as Christina's girlfriend. I'm pretty sure Blaze wouldn't just go like, oh yeah, like we're one hundo p taking your baby, right? These are feelings, as Alexis is trying to say, but like it's not like a sure thing, right? Like as a couple, they fantasize about it, but I think even Blaze is like, yeah, no, like we're not, like no way in any shape or form have we crossed that line. It's
Yes.
just this conversation we have with a topic that's so big that nobody else can understand. And as her partner, like I have that with her. You know what I mean? Like it's private.
Yeah.
It's not meant for Molly or TJ.
Yes. And like you said, there's such a distance there. It's not like they've been experiencing all this growth and joy together. It's just like, hi, incubator. You're also very dramatic. Give me my baby. Like that is the end of it when it comes to their relationship and being part of this process.
Like I'm wondering if this was another surrogate with would Molly and TJ have share, maybe they wouldn't. Like maybe that is part of the boundaries, right? Of like,
Hmm.
the surrogate handing over the baby, of like maybe not sharing and painting a picture of the baby's life afterward. Like I don't know, but there is like there's truth under everything. Like everything is very surface. Like you're a bad parent, I'm a bad parent. It's not about that, right? It's
Yeah.
I fell in love with this baby and we love this baby too. Like it's way deeper, but Molly realized that in retrospect she shouldn't have pushed the
Yes. The issue.
yeah, I was like, so bullying your surrogate didn't didn't work out.
Who
It didn't work. But it's
would
just
have
like
thought?
I mean I like that Alexis called her on it, but what makes me unhappy is that, oh well, your sister, if you push her, she'll just dig her heels in. I'm like, we're not talking about the last piece of pie.
Yes.
It's anybody who feels cornered when you show up to someone acting hostile
Hmm.
and asking them to sign over the parental rights and TJ acting like it's nothing, like someone hesitating or someone needing time to like say goodbye or come to terms with. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but nobody's willing to give her that time because I think that nobody wants to acknowledge the bond Christina has with the baby, maybe.
Yes.
So again, like things like calmed between Molly and her. And not shockingly, in that conversation, she doesn't really explicitly repeat anything she said to Christina, to Alexis, nor to Sam, by the way.
No, not at all.
So what did you think of that scene with Molly and Sam? Because Sam starts out by acting as if she saw what Molly saw in the interview. I'm like, is there something wrong with me that I did not see that?
I didn't see it either, but remember, they see Christina through a specific lens. So when they speak to her, it's through that lens. Anything she says, anything she does, even if it's at a normal pace of a normal human, we're seeing one version. The rest of the world is seeing one version. And her family is constantly seeing her through this old, scratched up, foggy lens of who she used to be
And I'm
and
just
have a hard time
saying,
believing who she is now.
well, Ava's taking advantage
Of course.
of Christina's reputation. And when you talk about how people see her, it's clear that some people don't, like a certain
Exactly.
brother named Dante.
Yeah.
So when Christina got subpoenaed, how much of you thought that TJ went ahead with papers?
Oh my God, everything in me. I was
Yeah.
100% sure.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is where, because that's the thing. We expected drama around the surrogacy for sure, but we thought we were there. We're like, oh, finally
Yes.
happened. They're fighting over the baby. Oh, we're here. We go. Court custody. And then it turns out it's from Ava.
I I was just shocked that it was from Ava because of all the reasons that were mentioned later on in the week. It floors me at how awesome she is at being has a little bit of tunnel vision as to how people will help her without it affecting her.
Well, like I said, it's like Ava and Sonny, it's just a bizarre fight. There are zero
Yes.
winners, and it's very tit for tat. Like anything you could say about Sonny, Sonny could say about you. It's just it's not a good battle. For you know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like that's why like every time she's like, oh, they wouldn't testify. I'm like, well, anybody who testified for Sonny could also be of help to you, and vice
Yeah.
versa.
Yeah.
Oh, can it be a tie? like,
So
like,
shared custody.
like, I don't know if these geniuses realize that by going to court, the court might just be like, you know what? Is there anyone else? I
Yeah,
think
anyone.
anyone else could take Avery. Like, I honestly feel like at this point that should just be the case because it's ridiculous.
Ooh, that would be an interesting turn of events
Well,
that
it
she's given to
happened,
Carly.
but it happened with Maxie and Lulu. They were both fighting over custody of Georgie, and the judge ended up awarding custody of Spinelli because the judge found that Spinelli was the most
Oh,
stable person.
yes. Okay. Okay. I'm down for that.
So, but
Spinelli gets
there's
Avery.
so much, but there's just so much custody happening at the same time. And I was just so worried because it's like when Christina got subpoenaed, I was like, "Oh no." Like nobody realizes like she's pregnant and shouldn't be stressed.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I just feel so bad for Christina that everyone treats her
I
like crap. Like
do.
even when Scott was going at her, I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh,
"Dude, you
right?
have your issues with Sonny. Like have a little respect. Like do you really need to have and develop that relationship with Christina too and seeing that she's pregnant, riling her up that way?" But I was just wondering at what point was Molly going to go, "Well, it's your fault Ava's suing you for custody. It's your fault that you have eyes and saw your dad beating Tex. Like it's all your fault. Like I hope you know that. Like everything that happens, you. And you know why? Because you made past mistakes. I'm just saying. I cheated once. I'm okay.
I'm okay. I've been absolved.
When Christina walked out,
Yes.
this is all I had, right? Because in the preview, you have Gio on a call saying there was an accident. So I was like, oh no, like Christina's gonna go to the hotel and like I guess fall, like slip or something. Like I
Slip
like
and
a
fall.
like but do you know, but I thought it was gonna well, I don't know what's worse, but it's because you know how Sonny had that person snapping photos or whatever.
Yes.
So I had thought that he was gonna have a sniper shoot Ava really not suspicious during a custody battle and that Kristina would walk in and he'd shoot another kid accidentally.
Oh my gosh, that's
That's
so
what
funny.
I thought.
Okay, so my thinking when he was making those phone calls, because he's been so sinister and dark, and he's like, "Where is he? What are his whereabouts? I want to know where he is all the time." And then when the big dramatic thing was like, "Take all the pictures
Click,
you
click,
can. I was like,
click, click, click,
whoa.
click.
That was a
Not
hell of a lead
pictures.
up. I was like, okay, so not the Pine Barrens. Got it. Pictures.
Oh
Pictures, not
man.
pines.
Like when I see it's so funny because I find him like a little awkward, and sometimes I can't tell if Ava likes him, and I
I
can only
know.
tell after she like insults him and he leaves, and then she smiles to herself, all like daydreaming like a teenage girl. Oh, that was so good, and I'm like, was it? Because I honestly can't tell. It's just like I can't, like I honestly can't tell if you like him, and I
Well,
feel
they're
like he's
both.
being a little clingy because he doesn't have a place to
Yes.
live. Yeah,
Yes. He's like a stage 5 clinger. Like,
yeah.
he is very thirsty. I mean, she
Oh
can
yeah.
do with or without. Like, she's like, oh,
Yes.
this is nice. This is a compliment. This was lovely. She had a little check mark and she's like, you must go now. And he's like, no, but like, I'm going to leave my stuff here. That's like a college trick so that you could come back.
Oh gosh, man, do we now understand? Because it's like he made a whole show of like, well,
Right?
what will people think if I walk out with a bag? I'm
A
like, I
bag, a
don't
duffel bag.
know.
Mish, a duffel bag. This bag, that's going to be right here. I'm
Just
like, the
the
bag was the
duffel.
second star of the show.
So wait a sec. So this is the thing though, because Ava moves a suitcase and a duffel.
Yes.
So I'm like, so you only wanted him to take the duffel and leave the suitcase? Like, they might have suspected I was physically fit and I was going to the gym. Like nobody cares why you have a duffel. Trust me, nobody cares.
Nobody.
But what I find bizarre is that she gets mad at him for walking around in a towel in her hotel room
Yeah.
and gets upset that being like, well, my guests saw you, but I also don't tell you I'm having guests. And I'm upset that you're acting like no one else is here but you and me. It was the
Okay, but
weirdest
like, okay,
situation.
sound noise. We haven't addressed sound noise for a while. So I travel for work. I have stayed in a number of hotel rooms. I can hear what people are doing in the next room over, much less if my hotel room has another room. So sound noise wasn't working because he would have full on heard that work conversation.
First of all, he had just come out of the shower and his ears could have been full of water.
I mean, he could have lost hearing due to his nakedness. We don't know how that works.
It's the shower is sketch. Remember how Anna took a shower and came out dry?
That's true.
Hair,
That's
no.
true.
Remember that whole thing? Oh, I was
True.
so sorry. I didn't hear it. I was just in the shower washing my dry hair. And then he's like, but the pipes aren't working. And she's like, it was a Barbie
Weird.
shower. I pretended the water. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. So then that whole Kate's thing, and like they've been displaying Trina's, I'm not going to say disloyalty, but her.
Eye-opening experiences with Ava.
Thank you, because when I stopped talking, I had zero intention of finishing that sentence. So I'm really happy that you completed it. So that's
I'm here for
great.
you.
Yes. So, but Chris, but like that was funny. Trina ran downstairs and like totally gossiped. She's like, "Guess who?" And I love Joss's face. Ew, who came out of? I don't want. I don't know if I want to know. But you know what I find funny? Because they have said more than once that Ava's hotel room overlooks the pool. She
Yes.
said it in the past when Trina was trying to have private conversations with Jocelyn. She would always like kind of be like, she could be looking. Don't look
Yes.
suspicious as we talk so many floors down at the pool. But again, we didn't know what was going to happen at the pool. But notice that on that day when Trina shared that Kate's was in her room,
Hmm.
Trina looked back at the window multiple times. Like I can't do it. I'm doing it, and I wish everyone could see me. But she did these exaggerated head turns. Head turns. Oh my gosh, this reminds me. People are gonna hate this episode, but like,
We're like squirrels today.
I was walking with Logan, and he was bragging to Lola, saying, "I'm flexible. I could turn my head like this and look behind. Look, I'm flexible." And he was like bragging, walking in the park. People are like staring because it's like he's like, I could look here and I could turn like this. I'm flexible. I'm like, yeah, just like Trina. Back to the podcast. So, that's the limit of my flexibility as well. So, so yeah. So everything is set up. Kristina goes in and they have a talk.
Yes.
They have a talk. And she said the obvious. Like she had the idea when Molly was at her house. She's like, I'll testify. Or do I have to? Then she got up and left. I think it's so stupid. She had to walk all the way to Ava's to say, hey, Ava, you want me to tell the truth? I'll tell the whole truth.
Yes.
And then it was insane, you know. She was like, "Don't touch me," like, because like I've never seen a fall like this. I just
Me
want to
neither.
point that out. Usually, someone's near a window. First of all, I don't even know why windows break. Like, I know my windows are pretty thick. Like, if I fall a lot just generally, and so I know that if I like hit the window, I am 100% not gonna fall outside. I know that.
That's true. That's
Like
true.
I would smush against the window for sure. It would be so awkward, but never break it. So already that's weird for a lot of people. But I found it impressive. I was shocked. When I was watching, I literally screamed so loud. I can't believe I didn't wake up any of the kids. But I was like, no! Like it was crazy.
It was.
But at the same time, I found myself rewinding
Oh yes.
and
Oh
doing an Olympic
yes.
style narration. Okay, and grabs the arm. She pirouettes, twirls. Yes, turns
She got the
around
10.
and makes the landing, and it was, I've never seen anything like it. Like the twirl was so evident.
The twirl. Yes.
Yeah, and it was like a decision. Okay, out I go. And then like she just went, and I love that GH posted a clip, but I figured they would, of like the making of that scene. And I love how many times they replayed it in today's episode. I'm like, hell yeah. Who knows what the budget was for that shot? You're
That's
gonna put it in
exactly it.
everybody's memory, in everyone's videographic memory. They're like, go, go, air the shot. But it was done spectacularly.
Those edits were unbelievable because when they
So
break it
good.
down to all the different parts, her screaming, jumping into the water, the stunt double, like it was so well choreographed and edited. It was unbelievable. Kudos.
Yet I was like, there is zero wall behind Ava and a frame. I just need to say that. Like, there's a door. Like, ultimately, that's what it would show. So, aside from me doing my logistics corner, and someone pointed this out, but I didn't even get a chance to go back and look, saying that when Sonny had that guy take pictures, there's a
Yes.
balcony outside of Ava's window. But then when the fall happens, there's no balcony. Because imagine she falls out.
Just off the
And
balcony.
oh my gosh. That was just the balcony comes tumbling down. It's like, who constructed the Metro Court? Like,
Right?
honestly, at this point, so bad. She tripped over that stupid bag and then falls. And my favorite was Gio's face. I'm like, that is
So
the face of
good.
a normie. It was so good. He was
Right?
the only one like extra horrified. Everyone was horrified. They were so horrified. But he was
Yes.
horrified like a normal person
Person.
who's never seen anything like this. Like all of a sudden he comes to Port Charles and he saw an FBI arrest his friend's mom. And then she's like, "Can you drive really fast?" He's like, "Oh my gosh. Okay, maybe." And so like so far the most exciting thing he's done is drive a little quickly to a
Yes.
bus station, right? That was like, "Whoa." Excitement. It's too soon. This is too much for that boy. You don't just go from driving a little speedily to go to a train station to
Really?
witnessing
Oh my God.
something like this. And I'm starting to wonder how many times has Brooklyn been at the MetroCorp pool and something terrible has happened? Because they keep showing her
Right?
reacting
Oh,
to stressful situations a lot. And I'm like, is this going to
yeah.
culminate into something at some point? Or are they just making her human? Like, I don't know. I can't tell.
I was worried about that too because that's exactly where the shooting was. So I was wondering if she was having like flashbacks of when she was worried about Chase and that shooting and all of this. And
Yeah. And then there was the whole so after the incident, I love how like everybody was shocked, but also Joss didn't budge at first because Gio was telling Trina like, "Oh man, I wish I knew to go get that board." And I'm like, "Are you really upset about your reaction time?" Because I was concerned about Joss's. I'm glad everyone thinks she's a hero, but I love how it's like, "Oh my gosh, someone fell in the pool. Let me walk over here and gently get myself into the water." But I'm like, she has no choice. Like the water's like a foot deep, so she can't
yes, I'm
dive.
like, but she was face down for so long. I'm like, this is weird.
But yeah, so Joss finally went into action and she had to prove that she knew what she was doing. And she gave so many instructions that it made me trust her. When
Right?
ultimately all she could say was, she fell in a pool. I put her on a board. I really don't know how she's doing. That's how she was with the
Poor
paramedics.
thing.
But it was good and I loved it. And that's where you started like, okay, like a lot of people at that pool love Kristina, right?
Yes.
They've been there through the pregnancy. And then Joss steps up because when she's like, "Are you family?" to Blazed, and then Joss steps up and goes, "I'm her sister."
Yeah.
I'm
I
like,
love
it's
that part.
interesting because even though she has two, she can definitely use a sister.
Right. And that's why I was so mad when everything happened with Joss and they were kind of at odds when they had that one super awesome moment when they had ice cream together watching the nurses ball. I'm like, why can't we have more of this? Because Joss, no matter who she is, she's the type of person that will accept you no matter what. Not for your previous faults, not for anything like that. She will love you hard. And that's what Kristina needs.
But I think this will be really interesting, right? Like solidifying those relationships. Like I find they have been slowly doing that with their generation of characters, right?
Yes.
Like in
Yes.
terms of Christina, Joss, Molly, Michael, there's like finally coming back with their connection
Hmm.
and attention on that specific generation. I think, of course, there's always been the attention on Michael and Joss, and with Molly and Christina, like I love so much that they're in the spotlight right now because they're one of those younger like characters that we've watched from babies to
Yes.
now.
It's wild.
And like Molly, definitely had her space in the show. We were always disappointed with the in and out of Christina or never like consistent storylines. So I like that they're a lot more cemented right now, and I
Hmm.
definitely hope that sticks for sure. But it's like this juxtaposed against that whole conversation TJ was having, like, really twisting Alexis's arms, saying that, really implying that him and Molly were getting the short end of the stick. Like, I
I
just found,
know.
like, I know that you're hurting, and I know that obviously he's angry, and a lot of it has to do with absence of information, because any
Yes.
contact with Christina, it would make it hard to like hate her because your ideas of her are so much stronger than
Ooh.
like a real
Huh.
connection and a relationship with her, right? You have no real life experiences with her as of late.
You bring up a super freaking good point. How they're being all weird with the distance and together. Remember, we toyed with the idea of this whole like TJ Christina, right? At the end of the day, it is their baby, and that love goes somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
even if she's not going to be the mother. Like,
Yeah.
if they were close, it would be even more messy. They would feel for Christina. They would feel horrible for literally taking her baby away. It's
Yeah.
like there's all these levels of emotions that we haven't really kind of they haven't addressed yet. But
Yeah.
yeah, the distance part of that is protecting him from not feeling for Christina.
That could definitely, yeah, it definitely makes sense when you say it. And it's just because at the same time, you see the panic when he sees Christina.
Right?
But then, like, this is what I was worried about because when she fell out of the window yesterday, I was like, "What if she ends up in a coma?" And I
That's
wrote it in
exactly
the
it. Oh,
caption because I'm like, "That's horrible," because she's bonded with this baby. She's dreaded because she knows it's coming to an end, right? She
yes.
dreaded it, but a lot of times when things come to an end, people freak out. I'm not just talking about pregnancy, but anything coming to an end, we
Yes.
sometimes fight against it, but eventually come to accept it. And that's sort of where Christina was at. And that's what
Yes.
Alexis, not clear enough, has been trying to say. Like, these are feelings, they're not actions, just give her some space. But what she hasn't come out and said is, look, this is hard for her as
Yes.
well. This is a difficult situation all around. And I'm glad she did it. As much as TJ said, all you could do is say, I told you so. No, she warned you all
No.
about this. And not because, oh, Christina, I think you're a sucky person and you shouldn't do this. She said, and her and Sam talked about like what it's like to be pregnant, and what they were basically trying to say is they don't think that they could have had a biological child and handed it over having gone through the
Yes.
experience, is what they were trying to say. That happened exactly what she said, and I think it's so unfair to at this point say now you have to pick a side. What? Like, it just makes
I
zero
know. It's
sense.
bananas.
But I was telling Johnny, I'm like, it really sucks for Christina to have like the baby out of her and like not really be present for any of it. And there's
Hmm.
clearly going to be a custody battle, right? We know Rick is
Oh,
coming to
yeah.
town. So this is where I'm at with this, is something you said last week. You said, I think somehow Natalia will just side with Christina. We didn't know how or what.
Hmm.
And but that Natalia would somehow be on Kristina's side. And so that would have implied that Kristina had made the conscious decision to like have the baby with Blaze. And we know how fiercely Natalia feels about motherhood.
Yes.
But then I feel like I'm feeling sympathetic toward Natalia. I honestly feel like the step she's making toward Blaze, like I'm buying it. Like I'm
Me
feeling it.
too.
And
Yeah.
so I just kept thinking, I'm like, so that's what it is. I'm like, because Natalia is fierce. And if she catches wind of how, because she just is, right? Like she was very against
Yes.
Kristina until she wasn't. She was
Yep.
impressed by her. So she's fierce. And I just kept thinking, if Natalia hears how they talk about her, like what if they say things that are horrible, like the stuff, that they're saying to Alexis, the stuff Molly and TJ share with each other, or even Sam's remarks. Like, what if she hears
Mm.
that? What if she hears them trying to blame her for the accident? What if they try to discredit her? I could see Natalia jumping in, and this would only bond her to Blaze, bond her to Kristina down the line. But I could see Natalia stepping in, fighting for custody, or fighting on behalf of Kristina, whether she's capable of fighting or not.
I do see that too, especially there was a moment where Joss, when they were questioning Joss at the hospital, where Alexis and Sonny were kind of coming after. I know it's based on like, fear, but
Yeah.
Natalia stepped up because Joss was like at a loss because there's only so much information that she has, and she's also dealing with the fact that her sister is potentially dying or whatever the case may be. So
Yep.
Natalia kind of stepped closer to her physically and was kind of mama bear, and I
Yeah,
was
she
like,
was maternal for sure. For
whoa.
sure. That was very noticeable.
Exactly. So I can completely see how this can go. You're right. There's this like this respect and this like bond that happened after that whole Perez interview. So I can see how it will look underhanded. Like let's say she's in a coma and they're like, well, right now she can't be a parent. So they're gonna have this like, what do they call, like a short-term um plan to like keep the baby for a while, but I can completely see what you're saying, that she's going to catch wind of all these different things and fight for her.
Yeah, because because at first, like, because I didn't know at that point, like I suspected, but when she had the accident, or if you think about like custody, you started to
Yeah.
see, you're okay, well, like Brooklyn is more on her side. You're gonna have like a Sonny and Natalia Blaze. Joss,
Hmm.
Joss basically declared herself, I'm your sister, which is cleaner than the
Yeah.
Sam and Molly. So I'm like, okay, boom, you have Joss. Again, why this storyline is so great is just how divided it'll be. Like, think about Trina and Joss. In this situation, Kristina is hurt, and will they fight over whether Ava did it or not? Like there's so much there. And in terms of like even Dante and Sam, because this topic has been going on for a really long time, but it hadn't really come
Yes.
into their couple yet, into their relationship. And
Hmm.
Kristina is their sister, but Sam is also Molly's
Yes.
sister. So,
That is so
um,
confusing.
you know, and I feel that Dante will be way more loyal to his sister than his cousin. So there is a
Sister.
pretty,
Okay,
like,
yes.
yeah, and
You're breaking my brain. I'm sorry. I
I'm
have to
just,
like really focus.
I'm just starting to feel like Christina's side of support is actually quite large.
Yes, it is.
So it's going to be interesting, especially with Rick. It definitely opposes, Rick and Sonny.
Oof. Yeah, that's gonna
It's
be
just
something.
interesting because, like, TJ today said Christina is her father's daughter. And I'm like, you know who Rick is, right?
Exactly. It was so funny because he
I'm
has
like,
no idea.
he's like a con artist. He like kidnapped Carly and tried to steal her baby. He brought Hayden to town. Like he has done so many things. And I'm like,
Mhm.
it's an interesting thing for TJ to have said. Perhaps Molly is her father's daughter as well.
Right? She's gonna steal
So
the baby and claim it as her own until Christina gets out of her coma.
no, her dad was many things, but like I don't know what that means for Molly because she doesn't really have
Yeah.
that like bad streak. And I don't really mean that literally, right? In terms of like that aspect of Rick. I just mean Rick is all kinds of shade of gray,
Yes.
the darker shades of gray, you know? And
Charcoal.
so I'm just kind of wondering how, like, I'm just so excited for all of this to play out. But my gosh, the Christina stuff. definitely has me, big reactions, big feelings. Like, I never imagined it would be like this, right? I imagined, we knew we would be gearing up for a custody fight, but did I ever expect drama on top of drama on top of drama and a custody hearing? And now, while this girl is in a coma, Ava decided to spin it as this was being Kristina's fault. And I'm
Okay.
so glad that Dante caught her in lies about the curtain, and the fact that she made a statement saying, I never put a hand on her.
I know, like, but that scene alone with Ava in between everything going, okay, it was an accident. It was totally an accident. But like, how do I make it look like an accident? It's like her criminal mind at work to help her with her innocence is going to make her look like a criminal.
But I love Dante. These shoes. These shoes. You expect me that the force of tripping over these shoes is what did it. And then Ava was like, well, she's pregnant. I'm like, excuse me? And then
I
then
know.
she's like, her balance. And I'm like, that's not what it sounded like you were gonna say. Because he's trying to say the force, right?
Yes.
He's not implying that anyone could lose their balance. You could lose your balance, but it's not enough force to break a window.
It would take something like a duffel bag, is what he should have said.
He's like, nobody would trip over these shoes and out of a window, not unless it was a duffel bag. Is there a duffel bag in this place? It's like, what kind of a fight did you have that Kristina came at you, and in coming at you, the cupboard flew open, and so did the ice bucket?
I could not make sense of it. I'm like,
Because
wait,
she
so
left the
ice
cupboard open too. I'm
makes
like,
I was like, ice makes carpet slippery. Water make carpet slippery. Like
no, but
you're doing it
apparently
all wrong, Ava.
no, but if she lunged toward her, she would have lunged away, right? So in my head,
Exactly.
I'm picturing it like she strangled her, and then like everything floated around. Like, none of it made any sense, but it's not good.
It's
It's
not
not
good.
looking very good for her. And I don't think her boyfriend could get her out of this, seeing as
No.
how he has been completely disgraced himself. Look, I'm just saying, I could barely remember the beginning of the week after the way the week ended.
I know. I had to go through my notes. Apparently, some stuff happened with Carly.
I was just stunned. I was just so stunned. And I'm like, Jason's been gone for 3 years. And I feel like every other word in terms of like unanswered things is like Pikeman, you know? Like,
Yes.
we've touched Pikeman with so many different size poles over the past while, and never fully grasping it. And then
No.
like Jason comes back, and he's lost literally his life. He almost left again. We're all afraid, Carly's gonna get charged, and she gets charged, and we're like gearing up against a losing battle. And it was like, and the evidence has disappeared. I was like, what? Like, first of all, I had to rewind, because when the opposing counsel got up to say
Mhm.
something after Diane, everybody gasped. I'm like, what? I had to rewind. So I'm
Same.
like,
I did the same thing.
I didn't catch. But those court scenes were spectacular.
That judge, early star to the judge. I didn't write her name down, but her acting was spectacular. I love that she complimented Diane. I love that she gave Kate the business and
Oh
called
yeah.
it a day. I was like, look at you just stealing the spotlight. I'm loving
And I love how that lawyer was so happy to say, we have no evidence. We want this to stop also, judge. And I was like, what is going on? He sounded
it.
so desperate. And I'm like, because we all know that the recording could not have been deleted by Spinelli. And then there was all
Yes.
these longing looks at Carly and Jason, and all of these like last minute things, like Carly kind of resigning herself to like not getting bail. One of my favorite lines comes from when she was talking to Michael. And he's
Mhm.
like, why wouldn't you get bail? He's like, Michael, they're charging me for racketeering. They think that like they're not going to let me out for risk that I'll racketeer more. And I was like, is that a real line that they used on the show? I know those are real charges, but it feels really strange to say that they don't want me to racketeer. To
I
continue,
know, right?
I was like, okay, all right. That it just sounds fun. It just feels like there
It
should be
does
a
sound
band and an
fun.
audience, some kind of a game. So then you have her family, right? And they could not have made that more obvious. Jason with Joss and Michael and Carly.
I know, right? The fam jam.
Yeah, and then Sonny showed up.
With all of his anger and illogical answers.
Oh man. Okay, so we will have to backtrack to his drama before the court proceedings started. But after like the really great news and all of the Kate's insults, and then Joss being like, how did that happen? So a couple of things in those scenes. One, I think we spotted Diane's new love interest.
I know.
Who's man enough to actually wait, she's not with Robert, is she?
I don't care.
That Robert did not even occur to me because he was so admiring of her. And
Yes.
then when they were suspecting who it was, and I'm like, that is wrong. And then out of nowhere, Sonny's like, "What's wrong with you people?" I'm like, "You people?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then like Jason making that face. I love how like expressive Jason is.
Me too.
And then I'm like, is what? I'm like, is Sonny actually in front of all those people saying you hurt my feelings? I'm like, is he? I'm like, am I actually watching this? Like, I don't even I can't take this man seriously anymore. It's like, you didn't trust me to just tell me. And I'm like, okay, Jason tried to have a follow-up conversation about this whole
Yeah.
thing, and there's a few details that I felt were left out.
Okay. Tell me, because I felt the same. It was
Jason
like an empty
didn't
conversation.
Jason didn't know who Jagger was
Yep.
until he came back to town.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Oh my gosh. And then when Jason is telling him what happened, that I did this because they were using Carly. And then Sonny said the oddest thing. I'm like, are you listening? Or what I think is going on with Sonny, he's like, I'm number one, or should be. I was at one time. Am I still? And so I think for him, he wants to be number one. And I think for him, it's like, I want to know that I'm more important to you than anybody. And he sees it, even though he knows Carly and Jason will always come first. I think it's hard for him to like live it.
Yes.
So he had a strange question for him. He's like, you would have let them charge Carly before you flipped on me? And I'm like, what? I'm like, is
Hmm.
he asking Jason, would you have chosen me over Carly?
Yeah.
And first of all, he didn't mention Sonny. And when Sonny asked more specific questions about him, what I understood was Jason basically chose to protect both of them.
Yes.
He said no to both. Like, I don't know what Sonny wanted. Would he have felt better if he only protected Sonny and just flipped on Carly for shits and giggles?
Apparently, that was the answer he was going
I'm
for.
so confused. And then he's like, Kate's is always coming after me, Jagger this and that. And I'm like, Jason, why didn't you tell him about that like memory loss you have? And that you didn't know that Kate's knew you. So those were some holes in that. But when Jason walked out, he was really hurt. And you could see a complete shift in their relationship, saying I did this twice. But again, I'm worried that the pills will be the thing that absolves Sonny, because they won't stop asking. And sure, yes, he's not on his pills. He's been acting erratic recently, but I still feel that there is a real piece of Sonny in some of all of these things that have gone on.
I agree. And if this was 3 years ago, this is still the storyline of him being Sonny being in that like Nixon Falls world of like trying to figure out his world in Port Charles and like merging those two lives, still being obsessed with Nina. Like he wasn't the same person. Even if
No,
Jason called him then, he'd be like, but Nina just called me, sorry. And then he'll forget to tell anybody that he heard from Jason. Like he wasn't in the right mindset back then, even on medication.
it's true, because even when Jason confronted Sonny right after Nixon Falls, he told
Yeah.
Sonny, "You're not mad enough." And so, you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
I feel like the severing of their relationship happened way before Nixon Falls. And then Sonny,
Yes.
and I felt bad for Dante, he's losing it. Um, Wait a second.
Wait a second. Tell me. What am I waiting for?
I don't know. No, because one, while they were arguing about like making moves, for some reason I was thinking about when Cyrus came to town, because
Mhm.
Cyrus ended up becoming Jason and Carly's problem. And I remember
Yep.
that was back then, Sonny was all about doing nothing and making no moves. That was his approach to
Yes,
Cyrus.
that's true.
And I don't know why I wrote that down, but all I know is that a lot of this is Sonny's fault somehow. that this is why they all had to step up. Like, it's so annoying. And I hate the way that he dismissed Carly's part. He's like, well, I had to do that because you weren't there. And he was like, yeah, I already know that part of the story. I'm like, because it's a big part of
It
their
is.
story. So we're going to move away from that useless detail to talk about Anna and Jason. Okay. Actually, Anna. So Anna's like
Anna
on the
and Kate's.
I don't even I'm like they talked again. Yeah, so Anna goes off to find Brennan
Yes.
because that's so important to her. And it turns out it was important to me too. And so when she was there at the WSB, when he opened the door in
Hot
his
damn.
suit,
Did you faint? I fainted.
I was like, oh my gosh. And then there's Anna. Oh, you're so good. I'm like, what did he do,
What?
Anna, that makes him so good? It's like the WSB. Like, it's so odd. It means it was like the mission all along. So this was where you're like, what's going on? I don't
Right?
know. I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, what's Pikeman? Like, is it a person? I don't know what's happening anymore. So now they're having a conversation where Anna supposedly caught the head of Pikeman. The
Yes.
first head of Pikeman was Brennan.
Yes.
Brennan it was in jail and then he disappeared. Brennan is working for the WSB. We always knew the WSB was affiliated with Pikeman,
Mm-hmm.
and they were pikemen. That's what I understood. So in the end, the WSB had this secret pikeman thing to do
Yes.
things, and then things got too hot, and they wanted to distance from it.
Yeah.
So they did, and ultimately Valentine is fine. So the WSB and the FBI, they're like not friends, and I think they're kind of like, oh, the FBI are so annoying, and so they just sort of like deal with them like an annoying little kid,
Yes.
and they have more power, is what it looks like. And so then they were like, we're done with Pikeman. So Anna did all of that, lost her dignity for literally nothing because Valentine was good the whole time. And that makes sense to me as to why Valentine would have taken on this whole thing because it made no sense. Like, he was
Yes.
good financially.
Yes.
So it turns out it was some weird WSB mission. And then she tells them about Carly. So basically they were pikemen, and that was the story, right?
I think so. And that
Yeah.
Valentine is just like happy somewhere, like he's not actually on the run.
Yes.
They just have new identities, which he agreed to, and they're all just living a happy off-screen life.
Yeah. So the WSB is protecting from the FBI until the FBI squashes this, which is somewhat happening. No, no, because that's a recording of Carly, not the
Yes.
Pikeman stuff.
No.
No. But I'm guessing that recording will also disappear. So then Anna tries to relay this information to Jason, but not before talking to Kate's, I think. I don't
Yeah, she
know.
speaks to Kate's before and then she speaks to Jason.
And then Kate thinks he has it all figured out again. Just like he told Ava, I almost had Jason and Carly flip on Sunday. I was right there. She's like, no, I don't think so. They would never.
Right?
He's like, you don't know how good at my job I am.
No, but the best part was like he's looking at Anna and he's really good at playing like annoying mad. Like you just want to like slap him, like soap opera
Yeah,
slap him across the face. It's like, Anna, what happened to you? And you're like,
I
dude, like
know.
what happened to you guys?
I just felt
Get
like
a hobby.
they could have easily said the same thing to each other. He tells her, you delete that recording as a way to pay back Jason for helping you with Valentine. And in my head, I'm like, honestly, that would have made sense. That would have been great. That's not Anna. And that is 100% not what she did. When things work
Right?
out, it's usually by accident. So, like, there's that. And then he was all mean to her. He's like, you're supposed to protect and serve, but all you're doing is protecting and serving Valentine and Sonny and something like that. And I'm like, look, Kate's, okay? Anna 100% is a banana, but she's
Yeah.
not protecting and serving Valentine or Sunny. She's protecting and serving herself, and her
Right?
whims change. It's 100% not rooted in them. So he's wrong about her there.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, how am I forgetting this? His epic battle with Molly. He was so gross. Like, first of all, I don't like that Molly can't tell stories with details, because if her dad is her lawyer
I
or just her
know.
dad in general, I want her dad to know the gross things that he said. Like, she's a coworker and he really was disgusting toward her. She's like, if you could listen, like, I love how she called him on
Yes.
everything, asking her if she was like the assistant rather than recognizing she was a lawyer.
So
I was like,
bad.
you
So
are
bad.
so gross. And then being like, would you strip for your uncle? I'm like,
Oh my
excuse me?
gosh.
Did
I
you
could
just ask
not.
an officer of the law if she'd be a stripper? Like,
Right?
I just couldn't believe it.
It was absolutely shocking. Like in that moment, Sonny had full right to punch him. Thank goodness Michael was there, but it was unbelievable to me. I know he knows that Sonny's off his meds. I know he knows he's trying to rile him up. But the fact that he thinks it's okay, like he just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, obviously for his own agenda and his past history and his vendetta with Sonny. But like, oh my gosh, in that moment, I was like, Pine Barrens, that would be great right now.
But I feel
Super
like,
great.
but given the court scenario, well, obviously that happened after, but like he's been totally discredited. So I'm just sort of like, Kate, what are you sticking around for? Like, I don't really
I
think
know.
moving forward, I don't even know if he'll be FBI, to be honest, moving forward if he stays on. Like, because he's really ruining himself at this point and he's being discredited professionally. But no, like, this is how the good guys can lose themselves when you're so hyper focused like this.
Yes,
Because
that's
it's not
true.
about the greater good. It really is about his obsession and Graduate Sonny, and his obsession will 100% ruin him.
Mm-hmm.
Ava felt comfortable enough telling him something so crazy about his meds, and the fact
I
that
know.
Kate went to use it, like, that says a lot about you as a person. Like, you're good.
Yes.
Like, I was like, I can't believe it. Like, you're supposed to be a cop and you're not even gonna like tell anybody at all about this. So I really hope that it comes out that he knows all of these things
Me too.
and how close he was with Ava. And the fact that Ava's like, it's fine. We don't have to worry that Trina saw us. It's not something to worry about. And she immediately told somebody where it would matter. But the whole thing about him asking, I want all of Sunny's files. Do you know what's about to happen? No, she doesn't follow your calendar. And it's not the
Right?
only case happening in a courthouse. Like, what? And so I was like, this is what's confusing. You brought charges to Carly because you have a recording. You have no evidence to back it up, but you decided to bring these charges and you have to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like, how is that anybody else's problem? You keep talking about like you had to settle for a lesser case because you went after Carly as opposed to Sunny.
Yeah.
Nobody made you do that.
Well, right?
So why don't you go and handle your case? And your case is not one that has anything more than a recording. And who cares if Molly gives you all the files on Sunny? This is not charges against Sunny. They're charges against Carly. So even if you have Sunny documented for stuff, how do you blame Carly for that? And I'm like, also, I may not be a lawyer, okay? I'm a soap lawyer, sometimes a nighttime drama lawyer, but this was an arraignment. So there wouldn't like why would you need all of this evidence? It was like, wasn't it like a bail hearing or something like that?
It was just a bail hearing to figure out if she's gonna like be released on bail, and then they'll set her like trial date. So it wasn't an actual court trial type situation. So this
And
man just went like all the way to bananas, cuckoo bananas.
what would the judge have said if you presented all these
Right?
records about Sunny? Tell us when you're about to connect with reality and be here at this year. Plus, he wasn't even the lawyer on the case. Like,
Right?
honestly, like, what are you doing?
Okay, so okay, we covered a lot of the things, a
Most
lot
of
of the
it.
most of it. Okay, I just have one question for you.
Okay.
That Lois Sunny conversation. I
Ugh.
don't know what happened to L&D, but I guess some bad stuff.
I just feel like Lois is poking her nose in this. Like, I get it. She's excited about a record company because she used to run one. And she started out by poking at Brooklyn about, like, how are you going to handle all of this? And I figured she just
Yes.
wanted advice or to be a part of it. But then
Hmm.
she decided to go the other angle of like, it could be dirty money. But even Brooklyn knows that Sunny wouldn't do that to her. So
Right?
again, I don't know if there's any drama there, but it was interesting having a scene where Sunny and Lois were talking about Geo.
That's true. And Gio's the only one that could get through to Sunny. And did you notice that when Gio called about Kristina, he called him Uncle Sunny the first time, and then the second time he just said Sunny.
Hmm. I don't know what that
means.
means. He's like,
And then
I feel more related to you, and then less.
and then there's the scene where like Christina's on the board thingy and the ambulance is there, and then Dante goes over to talk to her, and then all you see is like this super close cut of like Kristina and Dante and being like, "You're going to the hospital. Everybody thinks it's gonna be okay." And then in the background, you see Geo's face, just
Yeah,
a
I
little
noticed
part.
that.
I'm like, what does that mean, guys?
Yeah, I noticed that they put Geo in a scene of like the Sonny kids.
Yeah.
Oh, that's probably the clue. I don't know, but no, that can't be, because then it's like he had him when like around Joss's age. Again,
Well, right?
he could have only been helping Lois, right? I don't
Lois.
know.
I don't know. These are
Like
just
if it's
things we
Lois's,
observed.
yeah, we're just observing. These are just observations. Also, can we just talk about how funny the Anna Jason scene was? I really truly felt like it was like talking to the audience. And I made a
Yeah.
clip about it because that's what it felt like. Because she was saying
Yeah, I love
it was like the past few months never happened. And then she gave an explanation of what she thought Pikeman was. And then Jason was like, deal. I think that tracks. And then somebody asked, so then who killed Austin? And I was like, I'm like,
We
wait a
don't
second.
know.
Wasn't there a whole thing where Cyrus was working with the FBI trying to take down Pikeman? And then Cyrus said something about the name Stone.
Yes.
Was it Cyrus who said the name Stone?
I think so.
So I don't know why Cyrus is working with the FBI, but I'm guessing he was the snitch. I don't know who killed Austin. I don't think it was Cyrus because I think he had loved him like a son.
Yes,
But then I remember
absolutely.
Brennan had a little friend come to town, and I'm like, I think it could have been the friend. I don't
Okay,
know
well,
why
that
Pikeman
happened a long
killed
time
Austin.
ago.
I don't know why Pikeman would kill Austin just randomly, like, at all. Like I don't even. So so
That's a wrap, guys.
yeah. So it's like it never happened. I hope
Yes.
everybody is content. And look, I have to give them props for that, right? They're like, Pikeman? What Pikeman? Boom, splash Kristina in the water. Smokes in
Distraction.
near it. Forget.
You can't give us amnesia, guys.
I know. Trying to give the audience. That's so good. So that's a wrap on Pikeman. We don't know who they were, what they were doing, what the point was, and who they killed and why. But they are out of the picture, guys.
They're gone. Bye-bye.
They are neither nor there. I've never seen an enemy to Sonny come in and disappear, and everybody was like, "What?" Like, and was dangerous too. Usually,
Yeah,
it's great
super
when there's some
dangerous.
kind of like adversary, like Cyrus popping in. It was fun. Like, think about the Faith Roscoe's of the world, and then there's Pikeman, a faceless corporation.
Who might have been a woman, who might have been a man, who might have been a person, or just a company name. We don't know.
I know. Ugh, I thought we were gonna meet Mr. Pikeman one day.
I want to meet Mrs. Pikeman.
But
Miss
that's what they
Pikeman?
told us. That's what they
Yeah.
told us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
I'm not gonna get mad at you because
I
you didn't do this. It wasn't your fault.
like, whoa.
I'm sorry, guys. Like, this week was so exciting, but I feel like I'm talking in slow motion. So I have no idea what
We
this
did it.
podcast will be in the end.
So
Ta-da!
I don't even have any lines. You know what? The biggest star, like not a regular size star, we're gonna pump it up to like 100
Whoa,
sizes
pump
more
it
than our
up.
regular up.
Okay.
Is the falling Christina. Like that is like the
Oh.
ultimate star of the show. That scene
Oh,
was
come on.
impeccable.
We can do more than that. That was incredible. We're gonna see way more flashbacks of that fall for sure.
For
I'm
sure.
giving a star to the Brennan stuff because it was so exciting, but unfortunately,
Yes.
the water splash, memory gone, forgot about. I felt like that was a month ago, to be honest.
For
So
real.
started Brennan, started not guilty, started Jason walking out of Sonny's office, being like, you know what? Maybe I will get my own life. And then,
Right. Started Jason just being in a suit. And you know,
oh
maybe
yes.
yeah. I
How
think that's a good one.
misleading. How misleading. I thought there was going to be a trial, multiple suits. I was hoping a light color to bring out his eyes.
But here's the thing, maybe this is a
Not
lead up to
guilty.
like his next career. Now he's gonna be in a soup career, and him and Carly can
Like
just
a
have a
host
happy life.
at a restaurant? Okay. No.
Maybe no. No, he's not gonna be a restaurant greeter.
There has to be stars for stuff. Like, I mean, star for the fact that Joss finally saved someone this summer.
Yes, a star
Um,
to Gio's face acting. That was
oh,
incredible.
so freaking good. A star to, oh my God, a star to Sonny in this scene when he was fighting with Dante, and
Yeah.
Dante kept saying, because Kate's was solved. He's like, Kate's has been like neutralized. I have to give it to Sonny. He's like, excuse me. If you think you're gonna stop me from solving a problem that's already been solved, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna double down and take this solved problem and turn it into 50 more problems.
The sunny way.
Thank you very much. A star to Alexis when she like broke down, even if it was 2 seconds. I was like, oh my God, so good. And then
So
her hug
good.
to Sunny and Natalia.
Yes.
I have to say, gold
Star to
star there.
Natalia.
I have a worried star for Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Um,
We did it, guys.
yeah, we did it. A star to the judge, a star to Diane.
I started Wiley's birthday party. I thought that was real
Yes,
cute. Yeah.
so cute. I love that. Mom, where were you?
And a
I'm
cute
back.
star. Business trip. Whoop, whoop. A star to Maxine Spinelli. I just love them. They're just like a solid rock of a relationship. I love it.
Yeah, so is Molly and TJ once upon a time, but
I know, but that's
they've been through
different.
it. They've been through it. They've been through it.
Yeah.
I just find them so relatable. I don't know how they do it, but they do it.
I know,
And I have a
right?
random question
Shoot.
or a note or a thought for us to look out at for. So, you know the whole like Willow and Nina sitch?
Yeah.
These are this is my thought. Let's see if these are my thoughts. I'm like, no, it's singular. Okay, so I'm just wondering, do you think Willow will ever ask Nina about her dad, about Silas?
I think down the road that has to come up if they want that story to grow and that relationship to bond them further. She has to learn about her family, right? And that would be an important question.
And how do you think Willow will react when Nina shares her story of being cheated on?
It's gonna be hard.
Because
It's
that's
gonna really
interesting.
affect her. Yes.
That's really interesting, like of a tie. And I'm wondering if they are going to actually tie that together in a bow or not.
They might only after the fact that she goes all the way.
It's going to happen for sure.
Totally.
Was it this week that Drew? No, was it last week?
It was last week. It's
Last
just still
week.
in your brain. I know.
Yeah, 'cause I was looking at clips. That's why.
Amazing research. This
Okay.
is the research we will do. Okay, folks, that's a
Wait,
wrap.
wait, wait,
Oh, yeah,
wait,
nope.
wait. Can I just give a star to the force field that Ava used when she's like, I don't want to deal with the situation and just close the curtains?
That was so brilliant. I was like, wow. So you basically stuck your head out the window and be like, hi guys, this is Ava's room. And then you just close the curtains.
I'm like, closing the curtains won't stop them from finding that it's your room or that the window's broken. Like, it's not a magic curtain.
Okay. That's a wrap, folks. For those of you who are in Ontario, happy long weekend.
What? Why? What do you guys got?
Civic holiday. I don't even know what it means. I just got
You don't
Monday off.
even know what the holiday. Okay. Okay. Well, you guys enjoy your long weekend. Actually, I have days off next week. Out of because I chose it. Happy long weekend to Michelle, everybody. I hope you
Yes.
all enjoy it.
Bye.
Bye.